Hi, I'm Dr. Melissa Carr, and I'm a doctor of traditional Chinese medicine in Vancouver, British Columbia. So how many of you are feeling stressed out there today? Today is March 23rd, 2020, and we're in the midst of a COVID-19 pandemic. And I know that I don't need to tell you that you can't really watch the news or look at social media or go about your day without being affected now. And while many of you are working from home, many others have been laid off temporarily or aren't working right now because of business closures. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not busy. I found myself personally, I've been working about 3 times harder and for less money with work. And so it's quite stressful these days, and I understand that. And I thought that many of you are also finding yourself with too much time on your hands, meaning that you're spending more time watching the news, perhaps flipping through your social media channels, and maybe just mulling over things more, what's going on with COVID-19. And that's not really helpful for your mental wellness. But no matter your situation, if you're watching this, I gather that you're feeling stressed, and you're one of the vast many who are. And so I thought that because every day in clinic, I'm as a doctor of traditional Chinese medicine, I am treating a lot of people for a wide variety of health issues, and stress ends up being a confounding factor for those health issues for many people. And I think of stress like the volume control knob. For those of you who are much younger than me, that would be volume control button. That controls the worsening of your health conditions. So it can turn up the volume on pain, digestive issues, hormonal imbalances, skin outbreaks, immune system disturbances, and a variety of other health issues. And the higher the stress, the worse your health symptoms become. And acupuncture is one of the things that I know can help to reduce stress, teaches our nervous systems how to better manage the ups and downs of life. But of course now, right now, that's not something that I can really offer you. So I thought, what else can I teach you? And so I have some ideas for things you can do at home. Now, first one is acupressure. Acupressure is something that you can do, what you're going to do when you apply pressure on a point. And I'll show you one on your hand here. So on your hand, at the pinky side of your hand, you're going to look for a point that is, you're going to find that tendon right here. That when that tendon pops out there, just go on the inside towards the center line of your wrist and find a spot. All the acupressure points are a little bit in a sinkhole here. So this one is called Heart 7. Its point is called Shenmen. And when you apply pressure to a point, once you find that all the acupressure points, as I mentioned, are in a little bit of a sinkhole, once you find that point, you can apply a little bit of pressure to it. Now you might just apply continuous pressure. You might apply a little circular movement with it. You might find pulsing that you might try it with a different, maybe your thumb or a different finger, see what feels right for you. You might even use something like a pen that to stimulate it, or a crochet hook, something to stimulate that point. But fingers are pretty handy. And you're going to apply pressure for about 30 seconds to a minute, and then you can do the other side exactly the same thing. So applying pressure to that point there. So that's some basics about acupressure. I'll show you a number of points. So some of them are on the head. So we have a point here called yin tongue. I call it the #1 request point when I'm in clinic. Lots of people, if I've done it on them before, I've also taken to calling it the aren't you going to do that point, because a lot of people, once I've done it on them once, they're asking, hey, aren't you going to do that point if I don't do that point the next time that they're in? They'll request it. It's also, I now started calling it the unicorn point, and it is in the center of the forehead. And so yeah, if we put a needle here, it's like a little unicorn horn there. But it's between the eyebrows at the center of the head. So you can apply pressure there. You can do little massage with that as well. That's a great point as well. Another point on the head, you're going to put your, from the tips of your ears, you're going to go up, create like a headband on the top of your head, meet at the middle. So you're going to look for a little point. Again, it's got a little bit of a sinkhole there, and you can apply pressure on the top of your head. That one is called Do 20. The Chinese name for it is Bai Hui, 100 meeting points. And that's a really good point for helping to not only calm the nervous system, help you to manage some of your stressors, but it can also be helpful for lifting your energy a little bit too. And then there are actually 4 points around that one. So in the front and back and on either side of it. So you can do a little crown there on your head. Find those points that are a little bit tender through there. And again, a little bit of a small depression through that area there. So those are some points that you can do on your head. Another thing that a lot of people find, this isn't acupressure specific, but a lot of people find is helpful for relieving stress, but also giving a little bit of energy. You're trying to get through all the things, all the phone calls, all the emails, all the things that you need to do through your day. Many of you are at home with your children and your kids might be really bored. So if you're feeling like you need a little bit of an extra energy pick-me-up, you can, and you're stressed, you can actually just put your hands through your hair, spread your fingers, put your hands through your hair, and just do a little grab, just close, make a fist, and that will give you a little bit of energy. You're just lightly pulling the hair there when you do that. So that can be another way to help to just give you a little bit of energy as well as relieve stress. I'll show you some points here on the leg as well. So on the leg, you're going to find a point that is, so from the, we call the eye of the knee. So you've got these two little sort of dimple areas on your knee. You're going to go to the one on the outside, and you're going to make from that point there, a hand width down, and you're going to, I've got the shin bone right here. You're going to find just below the hand and just about a finger width outside of that bone. Again, look for a tender point there. That stomach 36 is a little bit of energy, as well as a good point for just when you're exhausted from all the stress. Another point on the leg is, it's a little tricky on here. So you're going to go from the tip of the ankle bone, you're going to go one hand width up and just behind the shin bone. So there's a point right there. It's going to generally feel a little tender. That one's called spleen 6. That's a good point. While we're here, we'll take a look as well, just at the tip of the ankle bone, between that and the Achilles tendon. You're going to find a spot there. You can actually just pinch on either side. So you're going to be grabbing 2 points at the same time. So that's a good point to do there. That one's kidney 3. On top of your kidneys sit your adrenal glands. Your adrenal glands pump out your stress hormones. And then finally, I'll put all these things up on the thing. It's a little tricky for me to show you some of the points clearly, but those are some ideas you can do. Now, of course, you can do acupressure on them, one side and then do the other side afterwards. You might also ask me for some of these tools. I've got press needles here, for example. I'll show you one of the press needles. So they come in packages of 0.3, 0.6, and 0.9 millimeters long. There's also 1.2 and 1.5 millimeters, but I generally stay below the 1 millimeter one. Now your skin is only about 1 millimeter thick, so the nice thing about these ones is you can do your own press needles because they don't go past your skin layer. So with that, that means that there's no blood. You don't have to worry if you pull them off. You don't need a sharps container like I do for acupuncture needles. You can pull them off and toss them in the garbage, and it's quite safe. I often put these on my patients in clinic as a way to extend their treatments. And so I've just got the one here. This is 0.3 millimeters long. And you're going to see it's shaped like an egg. And what I do is I put the egg, the skinnier part at the top, peel back this, bend it, and you'll see the top of it there. You can then just take that out. See, I've got the press needle here on the one side. This is the back side, the side that's outside of the skin, and this is the side that faces the skin. And what I'm going to do is apply it to find the acupressure point, put it on. You can see I can press it. It's got a 0.3 millimeter needle there. It's not painful. I can't even feel it at all. And once I put that on, and if it did feel a little pokey, what I would do is just keep the backing on it and move it a little bit so that it's not pokey, that I can do everything with it and it's not painful. And then you just peel the back of the sticker off there too. Okay, so once that's on, you can leave it on for, generally most patients I find it helpful for 3 up to 7 days. You know, if it's somewhere at the wrist, something like this, it may not stay on as long, especially with lots of hand washing right now. But if you were to put it on your leg points, for example, it might stay on for quite a while. This is another tool that you can use after about 3 to 7 days. Your body kind of gets used to it and you may not find it's helpful anymore. So at that point, you would just peel it off and throw it in the garbage. Another thing that that is helpful that you can always ask for is ear seeds. So the ear seeds are little. So this is an ear acupuncture model, and the idea is that your whole body is represented on the ear. You start off life fetal position upside down. So this is your head. These are your internal organs. You've got your spine up through here. The one main point for doing for just general stress is this point right around here is called Shen Men. I mentioned the Shen Men for the body point here. This is the Shen Men of the ears, translates as spirit gate. It's a really good one for calming the nervous system. And so what we do is we use stickers with a little either a metal ball or a seed. I have both. So the ones that I'm wearing today are a little metal ball underneath it with a little Swarovski crystal on the top. So that's the plain one. And then I've got a colored one here, and they come in different colors as well. And then I also have the plain ones. They're less expensive. They're just a little seed on there with a little sticker. And these stick tremendously well. Better than the Swarovski ones I find, but I find that these ones are really quite nice if you want something that just also picks up your spirits just a little bit too, and is also health effective. So those are some of the tools. If you want to ask me about, I'm happy to share with you how you can get those. And then, you know, lifestyle stuff. There's also, of course, lifestyle things that you can do. Breath work is one of the main things that people think about when they're trying to manage stress, and it is a good foundation. There's an example of a breath. Dr. Andrew Weil, functional medicine physician, if you look up the 4-7-8 breath, you can find a pretty good video of him demonstrating that. Basically, it's a breath in for the count of 4, a hold of the breath for the count of 7, and a breath out for the count of 8. And this one is a kind of breath work to help you to relax. Exercise is also helpful for stress relief, and that might be now because many of the gyms are closed. Most of the gyms are closed. Yoga studios are closed. The places you would maybe normally go to exercise, you don't have option for. Doing something in your house, push-ups, dancing around. Dancing is a great way to relieve stress. Some sort of activity that is movement for you. And then on the music note, you might decide that you want to learn how to play an instrument. I have a ukulele, so you might try something that is brings out some stress relief by trying something that puts you in touch with music, or just listening to your favorite music might be a way to do it as well. Singing is a great way. In Chinese medicine, we say that singing is a great way to relieve worries because it resonates with one of the organ systems that correlates to worry or overthinking. You might also get creative. Maybe you saw my crochet needle before. I'm working on crochet projects. I also do needle felting as well. So perhaps you'd pick up a needle felting as a hobby. There's a little bit of crochet and needle felting all together. And you could also look for funny movies, things that make you laugh, or just little things in life. I was in a store a few weeks ago and saw this. It says, "Nothing is written in stone," of course, written in stone. So look for things that bring you just this tiny little bit of sense of lightness to your life. And then, of course, getting enough sleep is really essential. So if you are having sleep problems, this is something that you can contact me about. I may have some solutions for you. Sleep is essential, obviously, to good health and to helping you to manage your stress. And of course, community is really valuable for helping to manage stress. And because of social distancing and self-isolation right now, that can be really tricky for those who live alone. It's really difficult to be able to create connection with others right now. But trying to chat online or through video, connect with people you haven't connected with for a while. I've had a number of friends reach out via various mediums like Messenger on Facebook and emails and text messages and phone calls, and that's been wonderful. But if you haven't if you haven't been doing that, that's a great way to do that. And I would also recommend, speaking of social media, that you limit how much you're watching the news, how much time you're spending on the internet and on social media. I mean, yes, things are constantly evolving, but you don't need to be on it 24/7. I've started limiting my amount of news time that I have access to, that I allow myself access to, and I'm not on Facebook at all right now. I just find it too stressful to be on Facebook with filtering through all the things that are true and not true, and all the stressors that are going on through the communications through that. So I think just finding what works for you. In terms of food, you know, it comes down to a lot of the times it's limiting your sugar intake, and obviously not having too much caffeine if you feel hyped up, wired up, anxious, stressed out that way. And I think that creating, eating regular meals is helpful. There is a real value to having some sort of routine to your life. And you know, it doesn't mean that you have to be completely structured with many people working from home or not working right now. You don't have the structure of work. And so you might be inclined to stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning watching Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever it is that you like to watch, or looking at Facebook or YouTube videos. But I definitely recommend still creating some structure in your life. And that is kind of, so that could be through your sleep routines, your wake routines, and your meal routines. Still having that like your skeletal structure of your body, like the framework to a building, it helps to keep our bodies, a building, or system stable. So I think that is really helpful to create some stress management, is have some stability in your life. There are also herbal options as well. So I've got a couple of options here. There's a slew of them out there. So this is just one that has a bunch of herbals in it. Rhodiola, ashwagandha, holy basil, Siberian ginseng, and schizandra berries. Schizandra berries is a Chinese herb called wuweizi. And there's a number of other Chinese herbs that are in the classification of calm the spirit, or other things that help to manage stress. I'll list off a few for those who maybe know it. He Huan Pi, which is called the happiness bark. Suan Zao Ren is commonly in a sleep formula called Suan Zao Ren Tong. Yuanzhi, Muli, Lingzhi is reishi mushroom. Reishi mushroom can help calm the nervous system. Baizi Ren Fushan. There's a bunch that I won't get into because it really depends. In Chinese medicine, it always depends on what's going on for your body. And then there's also tablet options in Chinese herbal formula. This one's called Free and Easy Wanderer. It is not the right formula for everybody who's stressed out, but for some people, this is the right formula. And if you have questions, I'm happy to answer. I am now set up for video online chats, consultations. The Jane app, which is the system that I've been using, now has it integrated into their system. So it's very easy to do the online conversations. And I am setting up kits, and I am happy to mail to you anything that I can do to help you support you during this time, this very stressful time. And if you have any questions, if you would like to book a consultation, my email address is activetcm.com. From there, you'll find the link, but for booking, that's activetcm.janeapp.com. I'm also happy to answer questions. The email address to reach me is drcarrtcm@gmail.com. That's drcarrtcm@gmail.com. I hope that you stay well and try your best to manage your stress at this time. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you so much.